dates on the certificates, these births took place in Honolulu during the month of August in 1961, just 16 days apart. The birth certificate on the left belongs to Barack Obama. The birth certificate on the right belongs to Johanna Ani. After 5 years of intense investigation, which included consultation with one of America's most respected forensic document examiners and a team of European media forensic experts, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office has reached a conclusion utilizing forensic techniques both old and new. It is the opinion of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office that the birth certificate on your right belonging to Johanna Ani was in fact used as a source document in the digital creation of Barack Obama's long-form birth certificate. 9 points of forgery in which words, letters, and hand-placed date stamps had been digitally copied from the Ani long-form birth certificate and pasted onto Obama's long-form birth certificate. We'll look at the first 5 points of forgery together, since they were brought over from the Ani document in one group.
I really want that to sink in. These were taken as one group. That's why relationally they are proportionate to each other. That's a key factor here.
Now let's drop out the Ani document as a background and view that again. Now let's look at the date stamps in box 20 and 22. In this case, the stamps were brought over one at a time. But as we do this experiment, ask yourself, what are the odds that 2 stamps in 2 separate boxes, stamped by hand 16 days apart, would have the exact same angle in box 20 and the exact same angle in box 22? First, we'll look at the left stamp. Now the right stamp. It should be pointed out that these stamps were looked at by 2 separate document examiners who specialize in 2 separate forensic disciplines and who reside on 2 different continents. Both agreed that these angles are identical on both the Obama document and the Ani document. Let's watch that again without all of the background clutter. It should be noted that Susan and Gretchen Nordijk were born 5 minutes from each other and have consecutive serial numbers. Therefore, their date stamps ostensibly would have been put on back to back. But as you can see, looking at the leftmost date stamps underlined in red and looking at the rightmost date stamps underlined in blue, there is no similarity in terms of the angle of the date stamps. How ironic that Barack Obama's birth certificate and Johanna Ani's birth certificate, which were stamped 16 days apart, are identical in angle according to 2 separate disciplines within the world of forensic document examination, and yet the Nordijk twins, born 5 minutes from each other, stamped back to back, don't show any similarity in angles. We've made a number of references to angles so far, The reason for that is if you're going to take an item off of one document and place it onto another, the angle is going to remain the same unless you intentionally alter it after you place it on the second document. Watch.
Here's what we think we know about that. Whoever created this document wasn't thinking about angles or relationship to other things. That was the giveaway in the date stamps. What that is telling you is no matter where you place that date, its angle of trajectory will be identical. It will be the same unless you manually go in and change it. This was one of the things that began the free fall of this document collapsing upon itself. The position of words, by using a small x as the point of reference and dragging them all over, this individual wasn't thinking about their relational positions.
When you have two separate documents with two hand-placed date stamps at the same angles, it should be obvious that a forgery has taken place. For the next example, we'll need to zoom in a little bit. Now we are going to focus on boxes 6D and 6E within the Obama PDF. Both X's were taken directly from box 6D in the Ani long-form birth certificate. In fact, not only was the X pulled over, but the box itself was pulled over, and various parts of the line on top of the X were also pulled over, according to forensic document experts.
Those little X's, one of those X's was used twice. That's why they appear twice on the Obama certificate. It was the same X from only one box in the Honey certificate. What the document examiner Reed Hayes noticed was the X was above the box, but the ink was bleeding into the word on top of it. That's why they had to take the box, the X, and the word, because she couldn't separate it. So obviously, this document was a template of some sort or a source. We're not entirely sure. I don't believe it was a template because of the positioning of these things. What they did on the date stamps, they didn't change the angles, but they just merely set them a little higher in the boxes. That was how they thought they were concealing it, but it doesn't change the angles. So I'm not sure what the document was. We know it's a source. We're a safe bet on that.
Next, we'll drop the Ani document out of the picture, except for the items that were used to create the Obama birth certificate.
And that would have been the X utilized again. Again, this has nothing to do with any kind of computer forensics that we previously encountered. This has nothing to do with a 7655 copier. This has something to do with somebody that had a knowledge of cut and paste and Photoshop and God only knows what else. But unfortunately, those items, by forensics determination, 2 different disciplines, 2 different continents have come to the same conclusion. I guess that's a meeting of science. I guess that's something you say. I don't even know. But it's like a meeting of 2 minds. They both concur. And they came to that conclusion with different scientific principles. We're pretty confident in these results.
Now let's take a look at all the items that were taken from the ID document and used to digitally create Barack Obama's long-term birth certificate. Oahu the second time. 3 different texts. This is very significant because they would have been put in by sliding the carriage and adjusting the birth. The left date stamp and the right date stamp, which are both at the exact same angles as the counterparts on the document, even though they were stamped 60 days apart. Doesn't it just make sense that Alvin Onaka's stamp and the April 25th date stamp were listed someplace also? Ask yourself this question. If anyone presented you with a document in your life that was this suspect, would you readily accept it, or would you begin an intense vetting? Be it a house title, a car title, a piece of currency, anything. Would you accept something this suspect if presented to you in your life? If you answer no, then ask yourself a second question. Don't the American people have a right to vet the documents that they are presented by public officials? The following experts were consulted in preparation for today's report. Reed Hayes is a court-qualified handwriting and document examiner whose business is located in Honolulu. He has nearly 40 years of handwriting-related experience. Reed is a board member of the Scientific Association of Forensic Examiners and has co-authored 5 books. We also consulted 4 Labs, a modern-day multimedia forensics team in Italy that specializes in analyzing data retrieved from multimedia files. We had 2 experts in 2 continents from 2 separate disciplines of forensics that came to one conclusion. Barack Obama's long-form birth certificate is not authentic.
I want to point 2 things out before I turn this over to Sheriff Arpaio. Here and here. The presumption has to be that the state of Hawaii did not create the PDF file because they don't create PDF files. Legally, they can't create PDF files. It's also been said by the governor when these documents were purportedly released that these were handled in no different fashion than anything else. Yeah, okay. Those 2 stamps have to have been brought in either by a lift or by a stamping themselves, like a stamper. And we actually did go out for $25. We had a Kiko's make us Alvin Onaka stamp, no questions asked. We got a Bates stamper. The safety paper background, this green background. During this investigation, I interviewed a number of different states' vital statistics directors and their fraud investigators. We identified the safety paper used. I called the manufacturer. They confirmed for me that they are the manufacturer for Hawaii safety paper. To put this in contrast, the safety paper you see on the Barack Obama certificate could actually be replicated by what's called a swatch and replicate pattern. And we did that. We're not sure if that's what happened here or the safety paper was just scanned in and used. We're not sure. However, in talking with Department of Health officials, 2 things came to light, and I'll use Arizona as an example. Arizona's safety paper, back in 2012, so maybe it's 10 cents instead of 7 cents a sheet. But Arizona safety paper has a plethora of security threads and controls built into the document, including every sheet of paper is individually serialized. So that means that serial number of safety paper has to correspond to the registration number of that birth certificate. Arizona safety paper, I was told by their fraud investigator that if you can get that for 7 cents a sheet, but on the black market, one sheet of Arizona safety paper costs $500 because of the way it's protected. Comparably to Hawaii, we bought 500 sheets of this particular safety paper by the same manufacturer for $52, and then I really got mad when I went on eBay and found the same stuff for $11. You can buy this for 500 sheets for $11. I'm going to tell you this, and these professionals did agree with me. The safety paper problem, the lax birth certificate protocol that's uniformly followed throughout the country is severely lacking. This document, you could not have seen it in this fashion had the safety paper in Hawaii just been comparable to Arizona's. So something that we are going to ask for going forward, and we're going to pursue this politically, is we would like to see at least a standardization of security paper for birth documents that meet at least the standard of Arizona. If not, they can come up with something better. Because birth documents, to make a birth certificate, it is insanely easy. Trust me, we were fabricating them for 5 years. A printer, some paper, a template, Microsoft programs, a couple stamps. And let me tell you one other thing. The hard raised seal on the Obama certificate that the only person in the world said was Savannah Guthrie, who was ushered into a dark room to behold the certificate and felt the raised seal. There's a problem with that. That's okay, Bob, I won't hold it against you. There's a problem with that. Our analysis team has looked at that. One of the points of fabrication of the PDF file is a clipping mask that has been manually placed around the document. It's like a border. When you remove that mask, there are 2 pencil markings under the mask that it's been concealing. Also, that document has a very unique ghosting around the letters, which we were not able to replicate exactly in all our tests. The Savannah Guthrie document, not only does it display that unique ghosting, but it does not display the pencil marks that should have been there if it was an original hard copy document, because the pencil marks were applied after the document was scanned in. Ford Labs also concludes that this document started as a PDF file, was printed out, and then rescanned, which is an anti-forensics technique. Additionally, the PDF file has no integrity to it because all the metadata has been erased. The metadata is the life history of building the document. It's missing. The document is utterly unreliable and the document is inauthentic. We also discovered, and I'm not going to get into this because we really have to go, AP distributed White House photos of the birth certificate, purportedly that they took while they were there. Those are not AP photos. They are White House handout JPEG images created by the White House. That means the White House has the ability to create JPEGs. In those files, those JPEGs were altered by Photoshop. Why are you creating Photoshopped enhanced JPEGs when you just have to take a picture of the document and put it up on the web? This document has been created. It's digitally been created. It is not real. The biggest question is, why? So that concludes where we are in this, and I'll bring this back to Sheriff Arpaio, let him tell you where we're going from here, and we'll go from there. I'm going to shut this down for you, Sheriff.
You know, I listened to this 5 years ago. I said one thing: show us the microfiche, show us the birth certificate, then we'll all go home. Where is it to this day? Very interesting question. I don't have the answer, but somebody should have it. So I plan on turning over this investigation this month to the federal government and Congress, and hope that Congress, number one, will pass a law that presidents should be vented. Common sense. I think what's happened in the 8 years will kind of prove what I'm trying to get should be passed. Maybe some members of Congress will hold some hearings open to the public regarding this matter. You know, I kind of look at this, being a federal guy for 30 years, if they can hold hearings. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I'm just trying to send a message to Congress. If you can hold hearings on underflated footballs, why can't you hold one on this? Can't believe it. So, and look at our evidence. Look at it. Just look at it. This is tough for me to say, believe me, all you media know me. Sometimes I get diarrhea of the mouth. But I'm telling you right now, we're not going to answer any questions. There's more sensitive information that we have regarding this matter, and I'm not going into it. So I want to thank all the media from coming here. I hope we enlighten you of what the real story and evidence is all about regarding this fake birth certificate. Thank you.
This whole investigation just have been mind-boggling. Imagine that a man who used a fraudulent document to identify his own legitimacy to hold the office as president would be behind an investigation plot on another president that would ultimately involve a bogus document, one developed with the assistance of several foreign operatives. Let's be clear that these individuals often convict themselves with their own words without even realizing it. This is the same individual that said the only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide. Barry Soetoro's great-grandfather, Adolf, would have been very proud of him, especially after a large group of American public was being effectively brainwashed largely through the vehicle of fake news. After watching all this, I gotta ask y'all, do y'all believe that the FBI was covering for the Barry Soetoro administration because they was afraid of the backlash from some of the urban areas, and they knew that this was a felony offense, in some cases might have even been considered treason? Y'all drop y'all comments down below. So not only did this individual spend over $36.2 million defending his quote-unquote legitimacy, this individual literally silenced hundreds of individuals literally just to keep his secret from being put out there into the public. Do y'all believe that Kash Patel is literally going to investigate these two individuals? I believe that any executive order, any rules, laws, and regulation that was passed during the Barry Soetoro time in office should literally be abolished, revoked, taken away, shut down, torn to pieces, all of the above. It was actually quite interesting how they used quote unquote the Black Lives Matter movement and the LGBTQ community to pass certain laws as well and set up certain agendas towards the melanin community in urban areas. Y'all drop y'all comments. Let's not forget that Barry Soetoro is a quidnunc and a ultra crepidarian. Him and Big Mike are very garrulous individuals. These two individuals never really have anything important to say, yet they always trying to give advice to the people on what they think that they should do, leaving people in a very quandary type of mindset, confusing them and leaving them with uncertainty. Let's also not forget how they literally just mentioned how they're going to release the flight log list of individuals that was literally over there on that island with Jeffrey. Do y'all believe that Kash Patel is literally going to shine the light on these two individuals, such as Barry Soetoro and Big Mike, actually showing up at that island multiple times? Drop in the comments what y'all think. Barry and Big Mike, you almost got away. You literally almost got away scot-free. Not only did you lie to us, not only did you guys mislead and misguide us, but these are the same individuals who have literally committed espionage, treason. These individuals have actually had people silenced. Let's not forget about Tafari Campbell. Let's not forget about Loretta Foodie. Let's not forget about Donald Young. Let's not forget about these individuals that they literally wanted to silence. There's a long hit list, but those individuals are the main ones that had to be silenced now or never, due to the fact that they had more info on this individual that he did not want to get out. Those that have a secret literally will always go the furthest extent to protect it, which is what this individual did. And for quote unquote black men and black women to still say that this guy is their hero, for quote unquote black men and black women to still give credit to this individual for being a quote unquote black first president, is beyond me. When are y'all gonna finally wake up and see the truth? These individuals played you for a fool. Let's not forget that this individual knew that he was going to be president in 1984, and he had Henry Lennox actually train him and give him certain mannerisms just so people in the urban community would think that he was just like them, and they would have had some type of resonance with this individual because they would have thought that he come from the same place that they come from, when in actuality, like his uncle said, this individual grew up in a home where there was no poverty. This individual grew up, quote unquote, like a white boy, according to his uncle. Y'all drop in the comments what y'all think. Let's also not forget that this individual has very close ties to the CIA. Did y'all forget that his grandfather on his mother's side, Stanley Dunham, was a CIA agent that was secretly assigned to Hawaii to spy on Frank Marshall Davis, who at one point they tried to tell us that that was the real father of Barry Soetoro. So it makes sense now why this individual was clearly able to get away with all these crimes, due to the fact that he had the resources and the technology that would later be used for him to infiltrate the White House. We not going to do too much. If you're function with me, then you already know to go do your own investor search. Don't take my word for it. Don't believe everything I say. I need you to go look up these things for yourself so you can have a clear understanding on why clear eyes always recognize real lies. And with that being said, I function with y'all. Make sure y'all drop a like, leave a comment, and let me know, do y'all think that Kash Patel is finally going to open up this investigation and finally bring down these individuals that have been misguiding and misleading the people in a nefarious way? Like always, I'm just here to ameliorate the world, and I can't do that by myself. I need your help as well. So with that being said, y'all know the rest. That part. As I always like to express in all my other videos, I am not here to turn non-believers into believers. I'm only here to bring y'all food for thought. And with that being said, your opinion is your opinion.
It's pretty difficult, let's face it. I felt like this was going to be a very hard life for both of them.
It was an unraveling mystery. It was kind of a distraction tactic. It's like you took them one way and
Michael and I also want to acknowledge
I mean, this dude is a genius.